Naruto and Kushina instantly went on their guard, and their adamantine sealing chains came out from their lower backs. Mom, Dad, please go to Irai. She's sleeping in the bedroom. I'll go check who's outside the door.
Currently, the Uzumaki family was living in a hotel under the police's 24/7 surveillance. Although they were supposed to be safe, Naruto and Kushina were too jumpy and didn't want to risk it.
Hey, calm down. It's me, Mirko. You recognize my voice, don't you? Or did you already forget about me, you ungrateful runt?
When she heard that voice coming from behind the door, Kushina let out a sigh she didn't know she was holding.
Although he recognized her voice, Naruto didn't retrieve his chains when he went to open the door. Short, big, fit and curvy, with 2 long white rabbit ears and dark skin. That woman was unmistakably Mirko, the rabbit hero. Don't stare at me like that, it's kinda creepy, was the first thing she said when he opened the door, and she saw him looking at her intently. I heard those chains of yours are supposed to cancel quirks, aren't they? Come, do your thing, and make sure I am who I say I am, she said, letting him wrap his adamantine sealing chains around her arm. If it had been someone using a sort of transformation or illusionary quirk, the contact with the chains would have reverted them to their original appearance. As Mirko remained unchanged, Naruto finally relaxed and brought back his chains inside his body. It's good to see you, Mirko. Thank you for saving my life, Naruto said, bowing his head at her. Don't sweat it, haha. That's what heroes do. Mirko laughed and ruffled his hair, making sure to scratch him behind the fox ears. During his 1-week-long internship with her, he often got mad at her for petting him as if he were a dog. But, much to her disappointment, she didn't manage to rile him up now.
Not that we dislike it, but what brings you here? We weren't informed by the police of any visitors, Minato said as he and Kushina came out of the bedroom and closed the door behind them to let Eri sleep in silence. It was a spur-of-the-moment thing. I just wanted to make sure that my cute pupil here was alright, Mirko answered while continuing to ruffle Naruto's hair.
You can stop now, Naruto said, annoyance starting to seep into his voice. Not put off by his grouchy mood, Mirko was actually in high spirits after getting a reaction out of him.
I happened to overhear what you were talking about. How about I take care of him until Uehai's dorms open? Mirko said and plopped herself down on the couch where Naruto had sat before, bouncing on it a few times on purpose to test its springs.
One look at her rabbit ears, and nobody felt the need to ask how she had heard them without being in the room at that time. The rabbit hero's bubbly personality made a great contrast with Naruto's and his parents' moods.
She almost died when we were being chased by AFO2. Does she have no sense of crisis or what? What's with her? Naruto thought while observing her in silence.
Naruto, what do you think about it? Minato unexpectedly left the decision up to him. I don't know. If I'm going to live with her, I'll probably die of hunger.
Oi, I resent that. Mirko hopped off the couch and poked him in the chest with her finger. I'll have you know, I'm not a half-bad cook. No, I'm actually awesome.
Naruto's unexpected little joke and Mirko's overreaction made Kushina burst into laughter. Minato too found himself chuckling a little at their exchange, and with that, the somber mood from before lightened up a little. I didn't see you cook even once during the internship.
Just because I didn't have the time for it, it doesn't mean I can't do it, Mirko said while crossing her arms at her chest and turning her head away with a HMPF. Jokes aside, is that really okay? Kushina asked, understanding the kind of risks and responsibility Mirko was assuming by offering to take Naruto in when All for One was out to get him. Unless a dozen heroes are protecting a place at all times, it won't matter where he stays, he'd be in great danger regardless if All for One decided to attack him again. That's why I think it's better to always be on the move. He would be safer with me than staying at All Might's old acquaintance, she explained. We wouldn't want to impose, Minato tried to refuse politely, but Mirko waved it off. Nonsense, it wouldn't be any trouble for me. I happen to quite like your son, she said while putting an arm on Naruto's shoulder and leaning on him. I've never had a sidekick before, but I'm looking forward to working together with him.
Minato and Kushina weren't exactly clueless in regard to the rabbit hero's fondness for their son. Leaving aside the incident at USJ, Mirko had extended an internship offer to a student for the first time in her career for Naruto's sake. And not only had she put everything down and run to help his family when they were attacked 2 days ago, but she was also one of the first to rush towards the training camp to rescue him.
And now that she was offering to take care of his necessities and protect him for an indefinite period of time, they would need to be blind not to realize that the rabbit hero had become quite attached to their son.
Frankly, I'm a little worried about him, Mirko said, dropping her smile and adopting a serious look. From the reports that I've heard and from what Mount Lady and Kamui Woods told me, his quirk was extremely powerful and dangerous after his latest awakening. As they listened to her in silence, she continued. It's the first time in history that the world has seen a quirk evolve so many times. This is the third time already, and something tells me it won't be the last. It's become quite clear that his quirk isn't a mere fox. That feral nature that comes out whenever adrenaline kicks in, and the demonic transformation he got after obtaining the fourth tail, make me think his quirk is way different. Far more powerful, far more dangerous. Naruto was taken aback by how on point Mirko's suspicions about his quirk were. He could not remember much from the time he took on the form of a demon, but from his mother's description of his appearance, it became obvious to him too that his quirk wasn't a simple fox quirk. It looked almost identical to the Jinchuriki transformation from his past life. The claws and the slit eyes, up until the third tail, and the demon-like appearance of the Jinchuriki cloak starting with the fourth tail. That couldn't be a coincidence.
So I want to help him get full control of his new powers before the start of the new school term. A quirk as volatile and powerful as his could pose a grave danger to the people around him, so he needs to have a firm grasp on it. Besides, I told you, didn't I? I like your son quite a lot, Mirko added at the end, grinning when Naruto looked to the side in slight embarrassment. Ah, look at him getting shy, isn't he cute? Mirko cooed, and, at that very moment, the sound of a phone snapping a photo was heard.
Mom, are you serious right now? Naruto said in exasperation. Oh, lighten up you, she said and giggled as she looked at the photo she had just taken. Let me see it too, Mirko said and quickly went to Kushina's side and looked over her shoulder. Whoa, okay, this is cute, Minato admitted too when he saw the photo. You'll have to send this to me too. I'll set it as my wallpaper right away. Dad, not you too. Their ruckus alarmed the sleeping girl next door, and she opened the door of her bedroom to see what was going on.
My God, she's so adorable, Mirko said breathlessly and swept the still not fully awake little girl in her arms, smothering her into her large chest. Naruto-ni-san, help! The girl cried out, her voice muffled by her bosom. Half an hour later, having left the hotel suite behind, Naruto and Mirko were walking down one of Musudafu City's boulevards and chatting. Seriously, what's with your family? You're all so ridiculously handsome and pretty.
When a handsome man and a beautiful woman love each other, Naruto began. Don't be a smart aleck with me. She rebuked him and punched him in the shoulder, but he sniggered despite the pain.
Even though she was much older than him, Mirko and Naruto did not look out of place walking next to each other on the street. If one did not know their identity, the two of them could even be mistaken as close friends or even a couple. That is to say, her behavior and especially her attire did not reflect her real age. Wearing white superstar sneakers on her feet, a pair of denim shorts with fishnet stockings underneath, and a white sleeveless crop top showing off her toned midriff, Usagiyama Rumi was dressed up just like a teen. Her long white hair was styled into a messy bun, and the large yellow sunglasses on top of her head only served to complete the image of youth. It was her well-endowed chest, and her thick thighs, however, that betrayed the fact that it was unlikely for her to be as young as she appeared to be. You've been sneaking glances at me for a while, Rumi said, her red eyes looking at him with amusement from under her long eyelashes. Shall I take it that you like my outfit?
Do you have eyes in the back of your head or what? He shot back.
As a matter of fact, I do. My quirk awakened 2 days ago too. Now, I can feel every single gaze of all the passers-by on me. And I've felt yours too, she said coyly.
You're starting to make me regret not going to live with All Might's old friend.
I've been singing praises to you and your parents for half an hour now. Would it be that hard for you to return the compliment for once? Mirko said, bummed out, and kicked a small pebble on the ground. As if you didn't know it already. You're literally the most popular female hero in the country. Everyone likes you.
But I don't care what everyone thinks now. Now, I want to hear what you think.
Quote. Are you going to tease me like this every day until school starts? Mirko giggled at the exasperation she could hear in his voice.
Of course.
But after they walked in silence for a minute or two, Naruto unexpectedly said, I think you're amazing. You're strong and athletic. You're always happy and in a good mood. And you're the most beautiful woman I've.
Hey! What's with you all of a sudden? Mirko almost shouted, her face getting redder by the second.
Well, you said you wanted to hear what I think, Naruto said, smirking at the realization that he had managed to turn the tables on her for once. You're brave, you never back down no matter the odds, and you're a hell of a fighter. And you've already saved my life twice. You're my favorite hero. My gosh, how are you not embarrassed saying all that? She burst out, all the while fanning her face with her hand. You wanted to hear my thoughts, but now that I've opened up, you're throwing stones at me. Naruto faked indignation, all the while secretly steaming with embarrassment on the inside too.
While he was not aware of it, Mirko actively teasing him and making him come out of his shell had been her goal all along. Understanding the mental pressure, the stress, and the guilt that he must have been feeling ever since his family got attacked by villains, Mirko did her best to relieve him of his burdens, if only for the moment.
Stopping in front of a restaurant with a store sign depicting a large, bitten slice of pizza, Mirko pointed at it and pulled him by the forearm as she said, How about we get some pizza? We'll discuss our plans over dinner.
Chapter 29. The Fox and the Hare.
Is Nissan leaving forever? Eri asked, tears threatening to spill from her eyes. Naruto momentarily put down the clothes he was packing and came to her. Kneeling to be at her eye level, he cupped her face and gently brushed away a stray tear falling down her cheek. Don't cry, Eri-chan. It's just a training trip with Mirko. It's only for a few weeks, I think. I'll be back before you know it. But I don't want you to go. I want us to be together. Eri cried.
Hearing Eri's sobs, Kushina came to Naruto's room and took the little girl in her arms.
No, let me down, Nissan. Don't leave, no.
As a yellow light started flickering on the tip of the horn growing out of her forehead, Kushina was forced to summon her chains and wrap them around Eri before her quirk caused a disaster. Even as she took the little girl away into another room to pacify her, due to his sensitive hearing, Naruto could still hear her heartbreaking cries.
Although she was only 6 years old, Eri was far more perceptive than other children her age. Due to the torment and suffering that she had endured at the hands of her previous caretakers, she was forced to mature beyond her physical age. She could tell that Naruto wasn't simply going on a training trip. Her cries made him grit his teeth. His anger was not directed at her but at all for one. One man's greed and thirst for power ruined the peace of his family. Now, his parents and his sister were going to become fugitives and live in hiding with secret identities. And he was going to live like a stray on the doorstep of a stranger, away from his parents and his little sister. Feeling his nails starting to grow into claws, Naruto started taking deep breaths and exhaling slowly to calm himself down. Usually, it did wonders, but his rage wasn't going away this time. In his past life, his deepest desire had been to have a family. To be loved. Ever since he regained his memories after the sludge villain's attack, his life has been almost like paradise for him. A supportive father, a loving mother, a comfortable financial situation, and, starting from a few months ago, an adorable little sister too. It was perfect. He had not taken that life for granted. He treasured every single moment spent with his family. But it was still taken away from him.
He had never been a person who easily gave in to hatred, not even in his past life. It wasn't only once or twice that he made peace with his enemies. He had forgiven things that most people would have never been able to, and he had given a chance even to the one who had destroyed his village and killed his sensei.
But now, for the first time in his current life, the seed of hatred had started germinating in his heart.
"Call us often, okay?" Minato said while squeezing his son's shoulders with his hands.
"I will, every weekend, I promise," Naruto said. "We'll try to figure out a way for us to meet in secret, but that will have to wait 2 or 3 weeks at least. We'll need to settle into our new lives first before figuring out the other things." Now that it was time for them to part, Kushina couldn't stop her tears.
"You're acting worse than Eri, Mom." Naruto tried to joke while she was hugging him as if her life depended on it.
"I'm going to miss you, Naruto. Call us often," she said the same words as her husband. "Anytime you want to chat or you need our advice, call us."
"I will, Mom, I promised, didn't I?"
"Stay safe out there, okay?" Kushina continued. "Make sure you eat at least 4 meals a day. You're a growing boy, and your quirk has just awakened again. You also still need to recover from the blood loss a few days ago. You will need plenty of food." "No worries, Naruto tried to complain, but when his father shook his head at him, he stopped speaking and listened to her words. "You should practice your martial arts too, never slack off. Your quirk keeps evolving and getting stronger, but don't forget what brought you to the dance in the first place, what made you become as strong as you are now." "Okay," he said, and he nodded obediently. "And if you find a girl you like." Although he wanted to let her get everything off her chest at first, Naruto couldn't remain silent anymore. "It's not like I'm going to be away for years. I'm not going to marry anyone while I'm still in school, if that's what you're worried about. I'll be fine," he said, exasperated.
"I'm your mother. It's my job to worry about you," she shot back in reproach. As I was saying, she began now that he had become silent again. "If you find a girl that you like, don't let your emotions and feelings get the better of you. You're a celebrity now and a top 10 pro hero in the making. With how handsome and popular you are, girls will be throwing themselves at you if given the chance. And it will only become worse after you get your pro hero license and start making good money."
When Naruto looked like he was about to protest again at her nagging, Minato also said, "Listen to your mother, she isn't wrong. The whole world is watching you now, both the good and the bad. Promise me one thing, Naruto. If you do find someone, please introduce her to us right away. Be cautious, and don't fall for any pretty face. Some girls are very smart, and they can be quite heartless and devious at times. You must have heard of many cases before of men whose lives were ruined by the wrong woman. Finding a good partner is one of the most important things in life." "True, if your life's going to get ruined, at least find the right woman," Minato piped in. "Now is not the time, Minato," Kushina yelled at him.
Turning her attention back to Naruto, Kushina blew out a long sigh.
"I'm sorry, I know I am nagging you, but I can't help worrying about you."
She had meant to have that conversation with him at the right time instead of being rushed into it like that. She had wanted to give him her advice slowly, when the situation called for it, and help him make important decisions. Alas, life had other plans in store for them.
"Done saying your goodbyes?" Mirko asked.
Yeah.
His downcast face and sagging fox ears made her sigh in sympathy for him. "Let me help you," she said, taking one of the 2 suitcases he was carrying.
Thanks, he muttered.
Coming out of the reception area of the hotel, a black Toyota sedan was waiting for them outside. "Are we taking a taxi all the way to Hiroshima?" he asked in surprise. In general, Japanese people rarely traveled by taxi unless it was during the night when public transportation stopped operating because taxis were very expensive. It was cheaper and also faster to take the bullet train, especially for long trips such as the one they were about to make. There were almost 500 kilometers between Musudafu City and Hiroshima.
We're not going directly to Hiroshima. I'd like to take you somewhere else first. Our first stop is MHA Prefecture.
Mikitane Town, located on the mountainside of Aichi Prefecture, a small town with not even 15,000 inhabitants. "What are we doing here?" he wondered. He had never even heard of that place until then. A few minutes later, the taxi stopped in front of a traditional Japanese gate, on which hung a sculpted sign that said, St. Eugene de Mazenod Orphanage.
Can you wait 2 or 3 hours for us? Money is not a problem. I'll pay you as if you were driving, Mirko asked the taxi driver.
"As long as I'm paid for it, I don't mind," the driver said. Once Naruto and Mirko got out of the car and took some grocery bags with them, the driver pulled into a shady area under a tree, reclined his seat, and, after pulling down his hat to cover his eyes, promptly fell asleep. As was the case for most of the overworked middle-class workers in Japan, the taxi driver had developed the ability to nap anytime, anywhere. "This is the place where I grew up," Mirko said, momentarily stopping in front of the gate and putting down the bags in her hands to ring the doorbell. A few seconds later, the gate opened, revealing a short, old woman. She was wearing a dark blue kimono, and her gray hair was tied in a bun at her back. At first glance, she appeared to be strict, but her face softened when she saw who the visitor was.
Rumi-chan, you're visiting us again. Come here.
As the old woman opened her arms, Mirko hugged her frail body dearly.
It's good to see you again, Oba-san.
Turning towards Naruto, she introduced him to her. "This is Uzumaki Naruto. You've probably heard about him. He's my favorite pupil."
I'm your only pupil, he deadpanned, and the old woman chuckled at their antics. But then he made a short bow and said, "Nice to meet you."
"Where are my manners? Please come inside. The kids will be so happy to see you," the old woman said.
Not even 5 seconds after stepping into the courtyard, the fur on his tail stood on end as a stampede of children charged at them seemingly from all directions. "Mirko, Rumi-san!" the children yelled as they crowded around the rabbit hero. "How are you?
"Who is this Oni-san?
What did you bring with you today?"
I heard you're the number 3 hero now." They were talking all at the same time, bombarding her with questions, but she didn't appear to be annoyed by their behavior. Taking a girl and a boy on her shoulders and 2 more children in her hands, Mirko let the gaggle of loud kids lead her inside the house.
Picking up Mirko's bags as well, Naruto carried all the baggage inside by himself.
"Are you really the number 3 hero now?" "Yes, it's true," she said.
You're the most kickest girl hero in the rankings. You're my favorite hero. A 10-year-old girl with a pair of cat ears on her head said, all the while looking at her with stars in her eyes.
"Mind your language, young lady, or Oba-san will punish you." Mirko admonished her lightly but secretly winked at her, making everyone giggle. "Who is that?" a boy asked while pointing at Naruto curiously. "It's not nice to point fingers, Aoi-kun."
Haha, sorry, the boy said, flushing a little as Mirko ruffled his hair endearingly.
"He is Uzumaki Naruto. You've heard of him before, haven't you?" The orphanage did not have access to television, but the children were still up to date with the trending stuff in the country thanks to their classmates at school. But he has 1, 2, 3, 4, he has 4 tails. Uzumaki Naruto has 3, no. A little girl asked, counting Naruto's fox tails with attention once again to make sure she got it right the first time.
His quirk evolved again.
Really? Did you evolve again? A boy who looked rather similar to Jirota from Class B with his fur-covered skin said and looked at Naruto wide-eyed. Did you get new powers?
I did. But I can't show you. I can't control it yet, it's too dangerous, Naruto said, anticipating what the boy was going to ask.
The next 15 minutes were spent answering all sorts of questions for the curious children. But even their curiosity had to take a backseat when the old lady returned with a large tray filled with glazed chocolate cookies and small cartons of juice of varying flavors. You shouldn't have brought them sweets again. Tonight is going to be hell, the old lady complained, but from the tone of her voice, Mirko knew she didn't really mean it.
As the kids got into a small scuffle, fighting over their favorite flavors, the old lady went to separate them and handed the cartons of juice one by one to everyone.
As Naruto and Mirko watched the old lady scold the kids for behaving rudely in front of the guests, he asked,
"What are you going to do now that All for One knows about this orphanage? I heard him shouting after you when you were carrying me to the hospital. What if he decided to get back at you by taking revenge on these children? What about the other villains that you have locked behind the bars?"
These children are getting transferred to other orphanages or put into foster care over the course of the next month. As for Oba-san, she will finally retire. Aside from the pension she'll get from the government, I have also set up a pension fund for her. It's the least I could do for her, Mirko said.
You care about her a lot, don't you?
She's the reason I am who I am today. My mother gave birth to me when she was only 15. She was still in school, and her parents, my grandparents, were pushing for her to abort me, to not ruin her future. But she didn't want to do that. She ran away from home and, after giving birth to me, she left me in the care of an orphanage. Mirko's case was not exactly an uncommon reason for children being placed in orphanages in Japan. Many of the children in Japan's orphanages weren't truly orphans, but they were left there by their parents because they were unable to provide for them. When I was 3 years old, I was transferred to another orphanage. At the age of 7, I was transferred to another place once again. It was here. I lived here until the age of 12. After that, I was sent to an all-girls orphanage for teenagers. But I've never forgotten this place. This is the only place that made me feel like I had a home. Oba-san was strict, but she was fair, and behind that brash attitude of hers, even as a kid, I could tell how much she cared about all of us. He was filled with surprise as he listened to her words. How did you become a hero? He asked. From an orphan girl in a nameless town in the boonies to becoming the number 3 hero in Japan, that was quite the story. It wasn't anything grand or special, Mirko said, laughing softly. I didn't have a noble purpose or anything like that. I've always been a rowdy kid. I've always loved fighting. Ever since I was a young kid, up until I was your age, I would get into fights with others almost daily. I told you how I got my nickname, didn't I? Oh, yeah, Tiger Bunny, Naruto said with a chuckle. It was Oba-san who first suggested to me that I use my strength for the sake of others. Frankly, I didn't care about doing good deeds and all that stuff when I was a teenager. But her suggestion gave me an idea. Becoming a pro hero would let me beat up people without getting in trouble with the law and even getting paid for it. For me at that time, it was an absolute win, she said, spreading her arms.
Both of them started snickering.
But, as I became more mature mentally, I started taking my job more seriously. Now, more than 10 years after I got my pro hero license, while I still love fighting and beating up villains just as much, people's safety always comes first for me. A pro hero's #1 purpose is to rescue the people in need. Hey, Oni-san, do you want to play with us? A boy came over to them while they were talking, bouncing a soccer ball.
Yeah, come play with us. Let's play soccer. Another boy said and grabbed Naruto by the hand.
Mirko-san, you come with us too. Please, let's make 2 teams, girls versus boys. The cat-eared girl said. Although she told the taxi driver she would get back in 3 hours, it was already evening by the time they returned. To their surprise, the taxi driver was still asleep even after all that time. Being such a small town, it was quiet, and there was hardly any traffic on that particular street.
I'm sorry. We're way later than anticipated. Mirko apologized.
No worries, no worries. The driver said as he got out of the car and stretched his body. I got paid for sleeping. I haven't had such good sleep in months. I'll also be able to pull an all-nighter thanks to the rest I got today. If only all days were like this, haha. Once the taxi driver turned on the engine, Mirko got in the backseat next to Naruto, and they went on their way. How was it? Did you like the orphanage? She asked.
It was something different. And the children were also so well behaved. They reminded me of my little sister. I liked it. But why did you bring me here today?
You seemed down. I wanted to take your mind off your problems, if only for a little while, Mirko said. For a few moments, he was silent. Thank you, Mirko, he said eventually. You've been a great help to us. Not only have you saved my life 2 times already, you've even offered to take care of me in this tough situation. What can I say? You've grown on me. How could I let a kid as honest and good as you stay on the streets? She smirked and ruffled his hair. There was never talk about me being left on the streets. And stop that, he said, swatting her hand away. But she sneaked her arm around his neck and caught him in a headlock, mashing his face into the side of her breasts. What are you doing? The driver is watching us, Naruto said in a harsh whisper. The driver chuckled as he watched in the rearview mirror how the rabbit hero gave the fox boy a noogie while he was struggling to get out of her grasp. So the rumors that the 2 of you were close weren't just tabloid talk, the driver said meaningfully, still chuckling. We're not close that way. Naruto refuted his words as she finally let go of his neck. Not yet, Mirko added right after. What? He asked wide-eyed.
What? She said back, a shit-eating grin on her face when she saw him flushing a deep red color.
Eventually, she couldn't hold back her laughter anymore, and she started giggling uncontrollably.
Don't you dare! Gimme that or put it away, now! He shouted when he saw her taking out her phone and trying to snap a photo of him.
Unfortunately, he couldn't do much against her while they were in a car. 5 minutes later, all he could do was watch how she sent that photo to his mother on cross-chat and how she started texting with her. While Mirko was busy chatting with Kushina through text messages, he fell into thoughts as he looked at the passing scenery outside. Yet another thing destroyed because of All for One. Now that AFO knew about the orphanage that Mirko was sponsoring, in fear of his retaliation, it had to be shut down. There were only around 20 children between the ages of 6 and 12, but even so, he could tell that the old lady was taking good care of them. Other orphanages are much worse. Caretakers in other orphanages didn't pay much attention to the kids, and it wasn't a rare occurrence for the older kids to viciously bully the younger ones. Many orphans committed suicide even before reaching the age of maturity, while others lost hope after facing the difficulties of Japanese society as grown-ups. Being an orphan in Japan was not easy even as an adult. As he had been an orphan in his past life, Naruto was particularly sensitive to such matters. If they also happen to have a troublesome quirk or an appearance that's not conventionally attractive. He sighed. Deep down, he wished he could help those children, but he was only a child himself. He didn't have that kind of money or influence. At least not yet. Furthermore, a powerful enemy was out to hunt him down. While he was not particularly worried for himself, even if he had the money to support others, he wouldn't be able to do it out of fear that the villains would harm them. Mirko's current situation was the perfect example. But what about your mother? Naruto suddenly asked. That guy threatened to go after her too. Mirko put her phone down for a moment to answer him.
My mother. I don't think she'll be in any trouble. She was living in the United States with her boyfriends the last time I checked up on her.
Boyfriends? As in plural? He asked, doubting his ears for a moment. My mother and I, we are very different from each other. We have very different values and behavior. So we don't talk that often. As long as I know that she is safe, that's all that matters, Mirko said, not wanting to delve too deeply into details. Ah, I didn't mean to pry.
Don't sweat it. More importantly, how do you feel about getting your provisional hero license next week?
I thought only second-year students and above could take that exam.